2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What if I told you you guys can make more money sitting at home on a couch than going out and getting a job? Or what if I could tell you that you guys can make more money sitting on a couch than someone with a college degree? What I'm talking about today is the public welfare system. And what I'm hoping to give to you guys is a little bit of knowledge about the whole system and the cons to it. And what I'm hoping y'all will get out of this is just being more aware about a system that many of us were fortunate enough not have to deal with as we were growing up. This whole speech is about that no one who is able to work should be able to receive welfare benefits from the government. And through this speech, I'll be talking about how the reason why no one should be able to get those benefits is because, first of all, we don't have the money to be handing out. Our country's in severe amount of debt. It creates disincentives to work and just breeds laziness. And the last reason is there's so much fraud in the welfare system. No one really knows if even the correct people who really need welfare are actually getting it. My first argument is, like I said earlier, that we're spending money that we don't have. All this information is from the Washington Times of April 2010. In 2010, the nation's debt was $15 trillion, and the deficit for the 2010 fiscal year was $1.7 trillion. And so that $1.7 trillion just added on to the debt. And what the interesting thing about welfare is that in 2010, Obama was enacting his new policies, his new increasing of welfare. And in 2010, $571 billion was spent on welfare. And this was a 58.6% rise from 2009. And at this rate, in the next decade, it will become over $1 trillion he'll be spending on welfare. And this is just money that we do not have. This welfare is just increasing the nation's debt even more. In 2010, the government paid per capita, so per person, $17,400, and for a family of 4, the government gave them $70,000, which is more than most Americans make at their jobs a year. A lot of people say that Canada is a socialist, or they have a socialism economy. And actually, in reality, Canada spent 14% less per capita on each person than the United States did. So we actually, in a sense, are more socialist than Canada. And this just shows the trend that welfare is making our country more and more social, is making us more and more going toward the socialism rather than capitalism. And also, with the whole Greek turmoil, the Americans need to learn a lesson that you cannot just spend money that you don't have, because that's exactly what is happening to Greece, or what happened to Greece. They're just spending and spending and spending and spending, and they don't have that kind of money. My next argument is that it creates a disincentive to work, and it just creates laziness. All this information is from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Commerce, and this information is extremely up to date. It's May 18, 2012. Currently, 15 million people, or 4.1%, are on welfare, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about that $17,000 per capita person, that's actually that's a lot of money. And some of the very interesting facts are 40 states have equivalent hourly wages of welfare of $8 per hour. And interesting, well, that means their equivalent wage, they get $8 per hour and they're not even working. And the one that matters to us is Texas. The minimum wage is $7.25, but on welfare, the equivalent wage is $7.31. So you can actually make more money doing nothing than actually going out and getting a minimum wage job. 7 states have $12 an hour. $12 7 states have a $12 or hour more equivalency ratio, and 9 states have a welfare salary more than what a teacher makes. So this is the whole, you can make more sitting on the couch than a teacher who actually has a college degree. Another thing about that it's increasing a disincentive to work is over the last 25 years with the decrease, and just in welfare, it has created a 30% less incentive to actually go out and getting a job, is because people just understand that the government will take care of them. They don't have a problem with that. And if it just keeps going at this rate, we're going to have just a ton of people that have no incentive to go out and get a job because they don't care. They're lazy. And a very, very shocking fact when I read this was that 29% of people believe that they're entitled to welfare, and they have no desire, no urge, nothing to become self-sufficient. And that doesn't make sense to me, because I don't understand how you can feel like you deserve a free ride. If you're able to work, why should you get a free ride and someone else not get a free ride? My third argument is about welfare fraud. Some interesting facts are it's estimated 16% of all people on welfare are actually abusing welfare. This can come from people saying they have disabilities when they really don't, or saying they have more children when they really don't. There was one example where a lady said she had 60 children, and it was just a lack of the government actually checking up on it, and a lack of the social workers actually looking at paperwork. She said she adopted 60 kids, so she would just keep receiving large checks from the government for welfare. And this 16% of people abusing welfare normally is close to $90 billion of actual welfare. So $90 billion we are giving to people that don't need it at all whatsoever. They're literally just abusing the system. And 89% of all welfare fraud is done by people without disabilities. So these are the people that directly are able to work but are deciding not to work, and they're deciding to either milk the system or beat the system because they're lazy. They don't want to go out and get a job. And this directly affects taxpayers because it makes the government think that they need more money. They need to give out more money to people, so they raise taxes. And obviously that affects policy making, because the politicians or congressmen say, we need X amount of dollars for this, and they're saying there's X amount of people on welfare when there's really this many people on welfare, so it's just messing everything up, and you can't have a reliable data. A case study is, it was actually recent. This is according to SeattlePI.com. It's a local newspaper up there. And if I didn't say this before, all the data before that I just said was from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And the case study is that there was a Seattle couple who lived in a $1.2 million house on a lake, and yet over the last 5 to 7 years, they had been receiving $135,000 of housing subsidy payments from the government. And the husband was a chiropractor, and he listed his actual address as his office, and apparently his office was not in a very good part of town, so that's why people kind of like believed him. And so pretty much what happened was they got caught, and they said that they had $5,000 worth of assets in their house, when it turns out they had a $50,000 Jaguar sitting in their driveway. So it was just a whole case of people abusing welfare and getting away with it for 5 to 7 years. And the only reason they got caught is because someone was going through their mail and saw that they were getting welfare payments. So, in pretty much summary is that welfare is needed for people with disabilities or for the correct person, but not for people who can go out and find a job. There are jobs out there, it's just people think that they're too good for that job. They don't want to go flip burgers. They think that because they have a high school degree, they can go get another job. Or they have a college degree, they're too good for this. When it's not. You have to get a job. And a parting thought would be, picture if you have a kid that is, let's just picture you grow up and some things don't go your way, and you have a kid that has a disability, and you really need some of this money for their care, and you get gypped. You get a very, very small amount of money because someone else over there is not working because they're lazy, they're abusing the system, and the government is just pretty much just screwing everybody. And yeah.
Okay, that really just that? 2 seconds, right?